Welcome to the Press Start Podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, James.
Hello.
And Shannon.
Hello.
Today on the show, we're going to be talking about the FTC taking Xbox to task, Ubisoft's statement about Assassin's Creed Shadows, Helldivers 2 getting a big content update, and the latest portable gaming PC hitting Australia and the world. But first, James, do you want to tell us about Famicom Detective Club, the series, and like why you're so excited about the new one coming out August 29th? I said, when I say, and like why you're so excited, that sounded snarky and sarcastic. I'm genuinely...
I don't know. Did it do well here? I don't know. I don't know if it did well anywhere. That's why anyway, yes. Why am I excited?
Yeah.
Like I tweeted, or X'd, or whatever we say now, when I first played it, like I was kind of shocked at how, it's like so dark. Like there's like, suicide and like dead bodies and like kids dying and stuff. Like it's quite dark for like
the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. Like but like, do you know what I mean? Like for a Nintendo game like in the 80s, like I know that I'm not one of those people who's always said Nintendo's very like kiddish, but like that is to me is like was quite unexpected. So but obviously when I played it, I was like, this. You can still tell this is like a NES adventure game. Had all those like little.
Did this just get re-released, the original one, recently, or am I thinking of something else that hadn't been released in the West?
4 years ago.
Yeah.
It was the remake when I reviewed it. Yeah. Because you can play the first two on Switch right now. Obviously, and so I'm excited to see what they do with a modern. Like as a modern twist, I guess, on the formula, because I feel like adventure games are good, but like there's a lot of like little kind of quality of life changes that have come along since then in the 80s to make them fun. So
when you say like an adventure game, is this like kind of point and click sort of style thing?
It's literally like move to an area, talk to a portrait, present some evidence to them, maybe, like it's very simple. It was like pretty simple back then. It was really about the story, and the story was good, and the story for this one looks pretty cool too. So
are you expecting like progression in gameplay for this one, or are you expecting it to stick true
to its
OG? It's like these were old games, right? Like there hasn't been a new one in a long time.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's exciting to see what a game in this series looks like, when the last one was, in the 80s. So absolutely.
The dogs sound excited for it at the very least, Shannon.
Yeah,
I think it must have done well for them to do another one, right? Like that's.
I think oh god. Look, I'm just gonna go through it. I feel like Nintendo have all the money in the world, right? And like you said, there's nothing else they do like this. So not every game needs to be a 10 million seller. They can just try do some things differently.
Yeah,
once in a while, I think.
Yeah, I love that we still get that from Nintendo. I mean, the very nature of them publishing like a mature game, obviously that attracted a bit of interest, and then it was revealed what it was. But I like that we still get some of that in the world, not just from Nintendo, but in this particular case, Nintendo.
Do a long legs game.
Oh, well, surely hang on, who is it that's just announced like all the horror games? Oh, Blumhouse, right?
Oh yeah.
I would love to see like. I know Longlegs isn't an A24
I think they're
film,
in direct
but
competition with Neon. Neon's like the new A24 now, basically.
Right, okay. Maybe Neon and A24 should get together and like do some horror games together as well. That'd be sick.
Absolutely.
I can voice it.
Yeah. Shannon can do the song. He can sing it. Yeah.
All right, let's crack on and talk about some more video game topics that we've got to discuss today. And I want to start with the FTC taking Xbox to task. The agency, which is still in the midst of appealing the, I think it was the court, the federal court in the US, or maybe the Supreme Court. I'd forget which one, but one of the court's decisions last year to allow Microsoft $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. They wrote in a letter to the US Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit that the changes to Xbox Game Pass that we talked about last week represent product degradation and, quote, exactly the sort of consumer harm that it had warned about in its case against the merger. Basically, it was like a, we told you so, this is what we feared would happen sort of scenario. They went on elaborating, quote, Microsoft's price increases and product degradation combined with Microsoft's reduced investments in output and product quality via employee layoffs are the hallmarks of a firm exercising market power post-merger. Certainly kind of not holding back, I would say. Shannon, do you agree with the FTC in this instance that Xbox is exercising some kind of anti-competitive, abusive market power? Big question.
There was a lot there in what you just said, right? So I feel like the first part is no, because like for COD, you can still buy it in whatever way that you wanted to buy it without any of this existing. Like nothing is changing.
I mean, to pull you up right there, though, like I think part of their part of this was acknowledging that they had just announced that Black Ops 6 was going to be kind of day and date for Game Pass, and then changed the membership packages that would make it available.
Yeah, fair. Like yes, but not to the degree that nobody else is doing it as well. Like it's not. No,
butt in. No. Can I Spock? No. But anyone? They haven't taken away. Pete, have they taken away people's, like access to those games? Because aren't all the changes for new people? Is that correct?
Yes, I think you're right. That was kind of part of the changes they made, that it wouldn't affect
not that
people's subscriptions that they had.
Yeah. Not that I'm defending it, but I'm saying is like if people have subscribed to get normal Game Pass, not even Ultimate, to get COD, those people still get it, correct?
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Do you know
had they gone and seen that announcement and immediately subscribed to Xbox Game Pass, you're right. I think they're still kind of getting the same offer. But if they had seen that announcement and gone, great, come November or whenever the game's coming out, I'm going to subscribe to Game Pass and get it, then the situation has changed.
I don't think anyone's going to deny it's absolutely horrible messaging. I think we spoke about it last week or the week before, like how they just had that showcase with like play it on Game Pass, and now the rules have totally changed. Like it's awful, but I don't think it makes it any more anti-competitor. The degradation argument, like I think that, again, it's true. Like we've just seen them lay off how many people in 2 or 3, 4 studios for Bethesda, which might not have happened otherwise. But again, like it's happening everywhere. So I don't know if you can, it's not ideal, but again, it's happening in big business in any industry and like all across the gaming industry. So it's just a tricky one. It feels like they have an axe to grind because they lost this battle. And now like anytime they can say, oh, we told you so, they're going to do that. But I don't think this is that yet. Like it's on the path to like being different to what they laid out, but I don't think anything like really drastically changes the ballpark. If they said like play it a month early on Game Pass, or like you've got to pay more and play it a month early or whatever, like that would be yes. But like James said, like anyone that had access isn't losing anything, and like you can still buy it on PlayStation and everywhere else. Like it's not enough for the grounds of this yet, but I can see why they want to dig their heels in and attack.
Yeah,
as well.
For what it's worth, I don't think it's as severe as the FTC is sort of making it out to be. And I think while Xbox kind of remains in a challenger sort of position, which they are at the moment, like I don't think anyone can deny the fact that like that PlayStation is. I mean, you can maybe even argue Nintendo is like the kind of market leader at the moment. Xbox is very much playing second fiddle, and I think the kind of strategic changes they're making are kind of enabling them to actually rival PlayStation more. So in that sort of sense, I think they kind of need to be permitted to have a little leeway and to actually sort of challenge that position. Like ultimately that benefits all as gamers. That being said, I think the loss of like the employee layoffs and stuff is a little bit harder to rationalize, and probably we don't kind of see it until time goes on what sort of impact that has. Like it could, in one sense, kind of like streamline Xbox's business and allow them to sort of be more sustainable and output sort of the kind of games that they want, which might actually work for players. Like ultimately, that's what the FTC should have in mind, is like, it does this benefit gamers as the kind of consumer. And so like I think that could still turn out to be true. I mean, let's not forget, like, you know, some of these layoffs included games that gamers didn't really care a lot for. So maybe actually the real allocation of resources and places makes more games that gamers do want, and there is a demand for. Yeah, I sort of feel, anyhow, I'm definitely waffling, but my point is it's too early to tell that.
Like,
if
all of these things could lead to what they're saying, but we're just not going to know for 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this whole thing could implode the industry. Like, if COD ends up failing and flopping and it doesn't work for whatever reason. I think like it's reason enough to ring the alarm bells and go, hey, let's keep an eye on this. But I don't think it's enough to like say that merger shouldn't have happened and it needs to be repealed. Like, that's sort of my feeling on it. Regarding the Game Pass changes though, James, do you think Xbox should kind of hold firm on the changes to the packages they've announced there, or can you see more changes kind of in the future, maybe them walking back from a little bit? It's not been well received. I feel like we kind of discussed it quite early, and then it just felt like in the days afterwards, more and more people started talking about how shit that was. Start a petition, James.
No, not a petition, man. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, I could... Has it? I don't know. I guess if they see numbers maybe drop or they don't see... I don't really know what they want anymore. Like, I don't think they want growth, right? Like, I feel like I don't know. I remember, like, back in the day, they announced price increases for Xbox Live Gold, and then, like, a few days later, they stopped it. Because I think it was just maybe as COVID was hitting. I don't know. So, like, I feel like they would have done something already if they were going to change anything. Never say never, though, but yeah, I don't see anything changing, to be honest. What I don't really understand is, like, does the FTC have no power now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they were so instrumental in, like, say, delaying the purchase and stuff, and now, like, it seems like they're saying, oh, yeah, it happened.
Well, I think they just dragged it into the courts, and then the court made the verdict that it was okay to proceed, which they're now appealing.
Okay.
But
so
I think
if they win that appeal, it's like, do all the Bethesda people get reinstated and everything? Like, what happens?
I don't quite know that. Like, I don't understand quite how it's been allowed to go ahead without, like, while there's still an ongoing court case surrounding it. You kind of thought you'd have to wait for all the appeals to kind of die down before you could do that. But I don't know. I think it's similar to, like, in Australia, like, the ACCC takes businesses to court on behalf of kind of on behalf of consumers. So I think it's similar in principle to that, but I don't know if this was two Australian businesses merging, what that would mean, if that would play out any differently.
Yeah,
we need someone that understands corporate law rather intimately to explain it to us, I think. Interesting. Going to be one to watch with the Xbox, but it's been that little way for a while, I suppose. Let's pivot now, though, to talk about Ubisoft, who issued a formal statement addressing the Japanese community directly and apologizing for aspects of its promotion and marketing of Assassin's Creed Shadows, whilst defending the decision to include Yasuke, a historical figure known to have served as a samurai. James, I'm going to come to you first on this one. How do you feel about the creative decisions being made around Assassin's Creed Shadows and the way it's been marketed?
I think it's fine. Probably, like, big surprise. I think... it's... The thing is, right, like, Yasuke, like, as a character, was obviously a historical figure, but they don't have a lot of information about him.
Yeah.
So it kind of is ripe for what Assassin's Creed does, right? Like, where they take real life events and kind of twist them to kind of fit the story that they're telling.
Yeah.
it's been happening since, I mean, I'm not going to say AC1, but at least AC2 with the Borgias, like that family.
And Leonardo da Vinci was not making hidden blades for assassins.
He didn't make a gun for it. Do you know what? Like, and like the Borgias were like a real family, like in the papacy and stuff, and they obviously, but things didn't go that way. Like, so like it's, to me, like it's always been like that. With Yasuke as well, like he's always been he was in Samurai Warriors. He was in Neo, like both the Neo games. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I have a suspicion why. Like, it's such a big deal now. But Assassin's Creed, like let's be real. It was never meant to be like 100% historically accurate.
Yeah.
I'm not actually convinced the people that are upset about this even care. Like deep down, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they just.
No, I think it started as something else, and now they're piggybacking off this to pretend it's for like historical reasons.
There's just always fucking something, like, you know, like people talking about I don't know what her name is, the main character of Star Wars Outlaws, like her jawline, and like I think Ubisoft is doing fine. Like, they've got a team in Japan working on this as well. You know, every Assassin's game starts with that little spiel about how it's developed by a team of various like multicultural religious beliefs, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they can. First of all, it's a fictional video game. They can do whatever they want. Second of all, like, it doesn't really make a difference, like, if they want to use a real character or not, right?
But and like
I think when you're dealing with like, sorry, Shannon, like, when you're dealing with like cultural heritage. Which I can't honestly say too much about, given I have very little understanding of like Japanese history and, you know, like how that carries through to the culture today. But yeah, I certainly would expect there to be some sensitivities in how that's handled and some respect shown. But I kind of feel like they have made a lot of effort to pay tribute to that in the same way that Sucker Punch did when they made Ghost of Tsushima, right? And I think, you know, like, although that game was made by Westerners, like, it's still quite well respected in Japan. I was kind of getting the sense that it was a similar sort of situation here with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Maybe there's been a couple of missteps in the marketing and the right to sort of correct those and apologize for it. But as far to the historical accuracy of things go, I agree with you. Like, you know, maybe it is a contentious historical fact that's kind of light on details, but, you know, they've never really pretended to be the authority on historical accuracy. Let's not forget that Assassin's Creed games in the past have had like mythical beings.
Yeah, you go to Atlantis in Odyssey, right? And but you still meet like, I can't remember exactly who you meet in that game, but there's a lot of historical figures that you meet in all of them. Like, that's the point.
Yeah. It reminds me of Battlefield 1 as well, when people were complaining about historical inaccuracies and that, and it was just blown totally out of proportion. Like,
but it's also like frustrating that everybody is now also a historian now. That like everybody is the expert on, especially like Japanese culture. So yeah, I find the whole thing very, like, honestly, like, very disingenuous. Like, I don't think people care about whether this game is historically accurate or not. I think there's much simpler explanation.
That's what I was going to pose, because I have to assume a lot of the people that are putting a lot of energy into this are fans of the series. Otherwise, why would you bother? But then what do they want? Like, the game is 3 months away from releasing. Like, do they expect that to be
cancelled?
Well,
like,
literally, but who does that benefit?
Why? It's the same group that thinks Stellar Blade was like censored, and it's like, you know, I don't really know what these people want. Like,
that's what confuses me, I think.
Yeah, I will say, and I guess this is kind of like a tricky line to walk as well, but like, Asian representation is kind of few and far between, and I feel like this would have been a good example to really just make that all it was. And so I kind of understand it from that angle, but I don't think people complaining about it online are kind of coming at it from that angle at all.
I think, like, if you read about Yasuke, like, there's a lot of stuff about him. He was kind of not treated differently, but like there was a little bit of stuff about how he looked and how he looked different from everyone else in Japan. So like, I feel like that also gives them room to play with. Just giving the story just an extra layer that it might not have had if you just had two Japanese people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're also completely I feel like everyone's forgetting and is it Naoi or the girl the Shinobi
The
that you play
Shinobi
as?
character. Yeah.
Like I feel like her character, she looks infinitely more interesting to play as. Because she's less of a tank and more of a proper ninja.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like that's all getting swept under the rug.
And Ubisoft have reiterated as well that like they're both playable characters in the story, right? That are kind of given equal
I feel like if she
to
was
it.
the only option, though, that would have just caused outrage for a whole different reason.
Well, can you imagine?
Like, you
yeah,
just
I
can't
feel like
win.
the same group of people would be
Yeah.
shitty. That you can only play as a girl, and I don't. Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah. Like, there probably is historical inaccuracies, and, like, I'm sure there's minor things that will come out that they'll try and fix, but I don't think there was any harm or ill intent in any of this. Like, I feel like it's just being taken really far.
I don't even think Ubisoft should have acknowledged it, to be honest. Like, I feel like, why now? Like, you've got, there's a lot of Egyptian culture in Origins and Greek culture in Odyssey. Like, I don't know, and you could argue that's just as disrespectful. You kill gods, like as Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. I think that's
It's just
all
the
we
latest thing.
need to say on the matter.
Do you know what though? It genuinely shocks me that I speak to people and they bring it up, and I'm like, I'm just like, it seems to have permeated a little bit further than say other stuff.
It's in all the comments of everything, like that I'm seeing on us. Like it's regular people.
I don't read. Yeah, to be fair, I don't read comments, but that's a good. That I hate that. Like, and it's just undermining. So like that game looks so fucking good, like so much better than Assassin's Creed has ever looked. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's talk about Helldivers now, and what is getting its biggest update yet, according to Arrowhead, giving its dedicated community a look at what is to come, including new mission objectives, new enemies, environmental hazards, and crushing new levels of challenge. I think they've added a new difficulty tier. Shannon, what would encourage you to go back to Helldivers? Is a new big content update like this likely to pull you back in?
I think so. I really enjoyed the few weeks I spent with it. I think we were chatting recently that it had sort of died down a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe I made that claim. And this, feels like the thing it needed for people to go back to it. I don't know if it'd be enough. Like the new environment and new enemies and stuff. Like it does look cool, and I would potentially jump back in. Yeah, I didn't expect to see this soon, to be honest, in terms of what this is and how big it is. So I don't know what else they could do that's bigger than this to get people back. And there was excitement online. So I'd be keen to check it out.
Yeah, like this excites me, and I think it's probably enough to kind of have me jump back in to sample it. But I think I would only really kind of come back to Helldivers in a big way if they would introduce a new enemy variety at the moment. Like we kind of had the bugs and then we had the bots, and I kind of loved how the playoff between the two kind of created these moments where the community really kind of rallied and bought into this kind of cool story that they were.
Did they
just
specify
telling.
like whether that was going to be this with new enemies, or is it just like variations of?
I think it's just new bugs and robot types as opposed to like a new enemy altogether. Which is obviously like when you're looking at the galactic map, whatever it's called, the bugs kind of come from one direction and the robots like another, the automatons or whatever they're called. But it kind of like suggested that there was going to be this north and south that new enemy types would kind of come from over time. And that always excited me, the potential of that. So I kind of hope that does happen in the not too distant future. I get that that's no easy feat to achieve, but I reckon that would kind of pull me back in a big way. And maybe they know that they're kind of saving that, and otherwise just kind of getting some of this content out in the run in the meantime. I think like when they added new enemies in the past, it really did kind of shake up the gameplay, and the hazards as well. When they introduced those, added an extra level of complexity to it too. Keen to give it a go.
This is free, right? Like, so far the only paid stuff has been the battle passes or whatever they're called.
That's my understanding, is that this is just a free update. there's those kind of battle pass things that what I liked about those always was that they weren't a timed thing.
Yeah.
You could buy it and kind of just unlock things as you progressed anytime, but they were always there for you to go back and complete.
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, I didn't expect to see anything like this soon. I feel like they probably rushed things out to maintain the base that they'd built quite above what they thought. So, yeah, I think this feels...
And I like the ways they kind of changed that up, and they had, what was it, like Joel behind the scenes, like pulling the strings and making changes. I just kind of felt like the novelty of that was going to wear pretty thin without like kind of a major new addition. But yeah, all the same, keen to jump in, give this a go. James, have you played any Helldivers? Are you likely to give it a shot at any point?
No, I'm good.
No.
Dude, I got so much shit to play. Like I don't. Yeah, and
Path
I don't
of the Goddess thing.
It's a
Don't have a
game of
role-
the year contender for me, James.
Yeah. Okay, that doesn't mean anything
I think
to me.
you would like it of all the games.
I make
like
an
it.
effort to play your game of the year contenders, and
Because I have
You don't
good
repay the
taste.
favour.
Like I don't. Yeah. No. I don't know. I just like reliable groups, and like I just want to sit down and play a game and be like, "Oh, what are you doing? Jump on." It's like, and then it's just a big process. Do you know? Like,
I feel like
I
that's
don't
kind
know.
of like an under discussed kind of point around these sort of games that require like a community. Like so much of it is kind of dependent on like this kind of herd sort of like pack mentality. If you just go where your mates are playing a game at the moment, and it's like if I had mates that maintained an interest in Helldivers, I probably still would be playing that. But
It's
at the
also,
moment
like,
they want to go and
full-time
play the First
living as
Ascendant
well.
or
Not uni
Yes,
students
true.
anymore.
I know, yeah. Chuck us back into a lockdown, I say,
Yeah,
so I can
or
play more
lockdown,
games.
exactly. 100%. Yeah, I'm keen to see how this goes and what they've got planned for it. I do think they'll probably have to do something paid at some point because like this was $40 or $50. I feel like most people would be comfortable with what they've got out of it to this point if they never go back. So I will be keen to see what they do and how the gamers react to that when it does happen.
I'm curious how what the War Bond thing. I'm forgetting what they're called.
I think it
exactly,
is War
something
Bond.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
maybe
curious
that
to
was
see
the
how
name of
those
one
have sold. Because I think they were like kind of $15 a pop or something like that. So if
Look,
they...
I've never been the type to really care about that type of stuff, so I don't know. But I reckon they would have done enough that I'd be happy with it. Surely.
Yeah, it was interesting though, because like there would be guns in there that would kind of become like the new meta, and it's like if you want to really hold your own, you should really get this pack and unlock this gun. You never had to do that, but yeah, the pros would.
I think that the balance that they found with that game in like how much you had to pay initially to get in, and then you could just enjoy it, and then you could pay more if you wanted. Like I know they're trying to do the same thing with Concord, but we'll see how that goes for that.
Yeah.
With Helldivers, I think it was perfect.
Yeah. Enjoyed the second weekend I spent with Concord. Didn't play nearly as much of it the second time around, but the new modes that they added, new maps for like the kind of domination and I'm forgetting what they're called. There's like a hard point kind of style sort of thing as well. Were both good fun. Continue to be excited for that game. All right, have one more topic of the day, and Shannon, I'm coming back your way because just 1 year after the launch of the ASUS ROG Ally, it's received an update with the Ally X boasting better battery life, ergonomics, and performance. Shannon, you've tried a fair few of these handheld gaming PCs now. How does this one hold up in comparison to the rest of them?
This feels like kind of the first one that feels like a proper handheld. Again, I haven't tried the Steam Deck, and I'm sure that feels really solid in terms of like not feeling like a PC in a handheld form factor. Like this one feels good just based on the battery life being double the size, so you're not sort of feeling like you're running out of juice the second you boot into a game. You can get 2 or 3 hours. The performance is a lot better, more storage. And it just feels like, they've really fixed up the few things that the Ally had wrong with it at launch. So it's $1,600, so you're not going to go out and buy one on a whim. But if you were to buy one and wanted Xbox Game Pass and things other than Steam, like this feels like the one I would recommend to people, or an Ally for cheap. But yeah, just based on the battery, you can get a few hours like at the highest settings, which feels like it's a proper portable.
That's impressive.
I think they've done a really good job with it. to be honest.
Do you see this continuing to get updated annually in the same way that, like, I mean, ASUS were accustomed to putting out a new suite of laptops every year? Like, do you think it'll be the same with their gaming handhelds?
I feel like yes, because MSI is also doing it, and I feel like the agreements that they must have with like AMD and Intel is that like it's all part of like marketing the chips and using the chips. So I feel like it probably will, or every second year we'll see this like mid-gen refresh and then a new chip the next year. But yeah, when the Switch 2 comes out, like that'll be the telling factor, or a Steam Deck 2, in like how much these other ones survive, just because their ability to undercut the competition with their own storefronts it makes it tricky for the others.
I guess is that what kind of benefits the Steam Deck at the moment? Because I feel like that, you know, that hasn't had the update, but still seems to sell quite well compared to the others.
It had the OLED one, but yeah, it's the fact that it's like $300 in the US, because Valve know they're going to make money through every purchase that they get. So, I don't know. For me, like, I couldn't see myself being locked to Steam. Like, I would want Game Pass games and everything else that you can play on these PCs, and just use them as PCs. They're super useful for that. But I don't know. I'm keen for the space. I'm glad it's still doing well. I feel like it must have done really well for ASUS beyond what they thought it would. So I'm keen. And yeah, just how far it's come in a year. Like, it weighs barely anything more, and the battery is double the size. So that's exciting for the future, and exciting for the Switch 2 as well, once we finally see that.
Yeah, I'm definitely waiting for, like, see what happens with the Switch 2 at this point. But I must admit, I keep getting tempted by the idea of a handheld.
I did play quite a bit of Concord on it. It was very nice.
Oh, right. That's impressive. James, have you been tempted at all by, like, a handheld PC of some kind?
Yeah, I'd get I wouldn't get a Steam Deck. I would get anything else.
So the kind of thing that Shannon's talking about, one of the PCs. Yeah.
The annoying thing is, like, PlayStation games, they're all on PC now, but none of them have crossplay as well. So, like, stuff like that is still irritating. Like, Xbox does it well, Ubisoft does it well, but, like, yeah, it's stuff like that that still makes it a little bit annoying to jump between. But yeah, I think they're going to keep coming down in price, and, like, the tech is there, so...
I mean, like, at the moment, if I could kind of keep playing No Rest for the Wicked, or, like, start Hades 2 or something and just play that handheld, like, that'd be awesome. I would love that. I don't know why I don't just spend more time gaming on my PC. Maybe it's because, like, I'm sat here working a lot of the time anyhow. Yeah. And I kind of want to just move to a different space, but I have been enjoying handheld gaming at the moment, both with the Switch and the PS Portal, just to kind of change up my environment or lie in bed and play some games. And to be able to do that, my PC library would be awesome as well.
Just lug it with you into the bed.
Yeah. I'm sure Em would love that. Rapid fire question for you all before What the Wiki. Fortnite is the latest video game property to be turned into Lego sets, with the Battle Boss, Peely, the Supply Llama, and the Der Burger getting immortalized in the plastic brick. My question for both of you is, what video game would you like to see turned into a Lego set? I feel like I may have answered this question before, but here I am again. James, do you have a video game property you'd like to see turned into Lego?
Obviously, Resident Evil. Imagine like the mansion, the mansion foyer. That like
would
a big set,
sick.
Like
actually.
the one
that
that
would
came
be
in
so
the collector's
fucking
edition
cool.
that was like broken in every.
No, that's not RE7.
What if they did like
from
Lego
RE1.
Raccoon City, and like, you know,
The
there's the
RPG?
Lego City,
Yeah, or like
and
the
you could they
RPD
did like their
building.
own version of the police station, just kind of like twisting the classic Lego City sets. That'd
a
be
liquor
awesome.
on like the wall. You know, that would be cool.
That would be cool. Shannon, if you go on.
I'm just gonna say Ratchet and Clank. Absolutely.
Oh, that's where I was gonna go.
Wow, how interesting.
Yeah.
Dynamic.
I mean, I always loved my Lego spaceships, so that's kind of where my head went. I reckon that'd be rad.
The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Just say your second favorite franchise. All you.
No, I mean, I would love to see more Horizon stuff now that that's happening. It's like I've got
You're seeing a lot of Horizon stuff.
I'm surprised that hasn't. It must be on the cards. I did ask that when I spoke to them, and they were very coy about it.
I'm sure it's on the cards. I mean, the Tallneck I think sold really quite well. I feel like I've seen tons of people with them.
you couldn't get it.
Well, it was like
Yeah.
$100. I feel like that's the sweet spot for Lego in terms of people buying it.
Yeah. I must admit, I was tempted by some of the Fortnite stuff,
It did look
particularly
cool,
the
didn't it?
llama.
Yeah, and the bus.
Yeah. I think the bus is the dearest of them all, but it does look really cool. Anyhow, let's play What the Wiki, the Press Up podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page for an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, with the round concluding after someone's bagged themselves 2 points. Last week, if I'm not mistaken, James did just that and clean swept the round as well, which gave him a bonus point, cementing his lead in first place on 26 points. I'm now really lagging behind in second on 19. Shannon just behind on 18. Brody's on 16. Kieran on 10. And Harry bringing up the rear on 5. James, help us out here. We need the points. But it is your show. Take it away when you're ready.
Yep, let's go. Okay. In this game, the player assumes control of either Jesse or Zofia from a first-person perspective, but an optional multiplayer co-op mode is included.
Ewan? No.
Yes, Ewan.
I think I've got this wrong, but Far Cry 6?
No.
No.
Players can complete the game with another player or with an artificial intelligence substitute. Missions can be completed in a non-linear order, and players can unlock new gear and abilities. I thought you guys would already have this by now. 20 years after the last game, America and much of the world is liberated from Nazi control. And
Ewan.
I feel like I heard Shannon first.
But I don't know. Wolfenstein, Young Blood.
Nah.
It is.
Who whispered that in his ear?
Young Blood. I know I
Bugger.
knew the
Yeah.
names.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. So Shannon's on 1 and Ewan's on none.
Yeah, he's tied me
who
now in
knows?
second place.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he tied you down loosely, so you might still escape if we're lucky.
Shannon wishes
Just
he'd been tied
once.
down.
The game is set in a quiet English village, and the game follows a... I'm going to not say that because it'll ruin it. Controlled by the player that can perform various actions. The village is split up into multiple areas, each
Ewan.
of which has
Oh.
8... Oh, no. Ewan?
Is this entitled to Goose Game?
It is Untitled
Yeah.
Goose Game. Oh, shit. Oh, okay.
I definitely had to fill in the blanks a little bit with what you were admitting there.
Yeah. It was, yeah. If I said, it can honk or
Yeah,
pet.
yeah.
It's only one game where you can honk.
Not
that I'm aware
enough.
of. Okay, here we go. This is it, I
Tiebreaker.
feel. The game is a horror-themed video game played from a third-person perspective in which single or multiple players assume control of 5 different characters. Players are required to make decisions based on their character's head or heart.
Oh.
The selection of options are stylized as a compass, which represents the character's moral compass, and is reflective of the game's themes. Inspired by the popularity of their 2015 game, the team... and the number of people playing the game with their friends by sharing a controller, the developer has introduced 2 different multiplayer modes in this game, titled Shared Story and Movie Night.
Shannon.
I'm scared. Go.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Ewan, I'm gonna take it a stab. Is it the Dark Pictures anthology Man of Medan?
oh, it is.
Yes!
Congratulations, Ewan. Shannon, what are we doing?
I knew it was. I didn't know what the name was of the actual game, but
Oh, okay. So they have all turned 5 years old as of this year.
Wowee.
what have
Hang on,
we
what were the
done
ga-
since then? Really,
Untitled Goose Game came out 5 years ago.
that is insane.
Absolutely. It is.
Damn.
Crazy, hey.
Yeah, time flies. Wow. Well, thank you, James. I needed those points. It's regrettable I didn't clean sweep it, but it is what it is. So, yeah, still 5 points behind you, though. I'm up on 21 points now. And Shannon, you're in third still on 19. just defended my second place position there. But with that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listen or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at pressstart.au and visit the site at pressstart.com.au. We've been joined today by James.
Yes, you can find me on X at Jams, ATJAMZ.
And last but not least, it was Shannon. Yes. I was going to do something, but then it didn't.
Wow. You can follow me at Shannon Grixty. Go for it.
Wow.
And I've been your host, Ewan. You can follow me on socials at Ewan_Roxborough. Thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.
Bye.